this is wmpyr. For today's lesson, I want to help you guys get the most out of your 5 angles of attack forms. Okay, so first let me show you what the 5 angles of attack is. This is a very basic form and I use it in a lot of my videos. I think it's really good basics and I keep coming back to it because it's solid stuff. So it looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is the stab. Okay, so that is a diagonal, diagonal, horizontal, horizontal, and then stab. All right, that's what I call Form A. Form B looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is a diagonal, and then you come back the way you just came. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 starts from the bottom right, diagonal, and then number 4, go back the way you came. And number 5 on both forms is a stab. All right. Now, very basic, both of them, and they're nice and short. That's what I like about them. It's easy to remember, and you could do it even if you're like traveling at a hotel at night or whatever. They're very easy to do. Now, you want to keep coming back to these forms to evolve them, not just to increase the quality of your body mechanics and get them into muscle memory and stuff like that, which you should be doing. So when you do the diagonal strikes, you should be able to see the lines. Horizontal, you should be able to see the lines and you should be able to alter them. Okay, so the diagonal first, number 1 and number 2, you should be able to make an X that's very, very narrow like that, or you should be able to make an X that's very, very wide and fat like that. So you should be able to control that. The horizontal line could be up here, it could be in the middle, it could be low. You should be able to control all of that as you do the form. Okay, but in addition to that, another way to evolve it is to add and combine techniques onto it. So, for example, the first one I could go 1, 2, 3. You see, I'm adding a circular motion to the form. Okay, so that could make it a double strike, or it could just be practicing the circular motion for your wrist control and body mechanics. Okay, the next thing you can do, for example, is also add a stab in there. Stab and slash, stab and slash, stab and slash. Okay, so you could add a stab in there. Another way to modify it, evolve it, is you could add a defensive move first. So you could do a defensive move and then go into the form. Okay, defensive move and go into the form. Defense, and keep going like that. So there's many countless possibilities you could do to evolve the form. But today, I want to focus on something a little bit more basic for you guys, without going into technique so much. More so, okay, when you're practicing with something like this, okay, whether it's a stick, a baton, or even a blade, one of the things is you want to focus on hitting with this part right here, the top part, because this is where it's going to have the most velocity. All right, so it's like you're hammering. It has the most leverage. It's at the end right there. That's where you want to strike with. So imagine this is like a club or something. You want to pound on their head. That's exactly where you want to be hitting with, right up here. Okay, so you should practice the form with that intention. So it should be 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. You should be focused on that. And if you have something to actually hit, then even better. You could actually control that and practice that. It could be something as simple as dangling a towel, all right? And you could actually hit the towel and make sure you're contacting with this area. The next thing is actually focus on a little bit lower, this part of the stick. A little bit, not up here, but lower. Just a little bit lower right here, and focus making contact there. 2, 3, 4. Same form, but it really changes the purpose, okay? In this case, what you're doing now is it's more of a hacking, and it's more of a chopping type motion. Okay, you're not going to hack and chop with a very tip area. Okay, you're going to go lower. All right, right around here. And then the other thing is actually go practice striking with this area. Same exact form, but 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then of course 5 is the stab, so that stays the same. But once you're hitting with this area, what happens is, when you actually make contact, you're going to drag the weapon like that. So if it's a bladed weapon, now you're slicing. Now these are deep, deep, deep cuts, like with a samurai sword. And so those are 3 different ways that you could actually practice the exact same form. And that takes a lot of practice, and it should give you lots and lots of hours and stuff to do. All right. Now the other thing that I want to talk about is we'll go to a training knife here. Okay. So when you go to a training knife, if you're holding it like this, and let's say this is a Tonto style blade, all right, the edge would be here and here, okay? The edge would be right there on the bottom like that. Well, what I want to do here is actually flip it and have the spine side, okay? So we're going to be using the tip, the point right here. Ignore the edge, and now practice the form. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you strike too deep, you're going to be using the spine, and it's just going to be like an impact weapon. If you use the tip right here, you're going to actually be able to cut. And this is important when you go to like figure 8 type motions and stuff. If you don't learn how to cut with the tip, then when going into figure 8 type circular motions, then you're going to be actually cutting less than 50% of the time. So you're going to have to be able to control that and go to the tip, all right? And that's also useful for pen, okay? So when we translate to pen combat, when you have something like a shank, okay, something where there is no edge, it's just a pointy, sharp tip. When you have something like that, then now the scraping motions that you could do with this something like this, a pointy pen, the scraping can now translate into cutting if it's pointy enough, or if you put in enough power, the scraping can now cut. So those are some things to keep in mind. And just main focus here is just keep practicing, keep training, go back to your basics, it's golden stuff, and keep evolving that way. So thank you for watching, and take care, folks.